Hello everyone. Today's meal is going to be something very special and delicious. So here I have a beautiful piece of snapper, and my husband bought this for me because he knows that I really love this fish. I mean, look how large. That is a hefty size piece of fish. So I had been craving for some fish curry, but then I had to really think about that. I would be the only one eating it. So instead of making a pot of fish curry, I'm just going to put curry seasonings on this fish. Normally you would use white fish to make a fish curry, but I'm going to try it with the red snapper and see what happens. So I have my seasonings over here. So this is my mixture of curry powder, but it's more like I guess you can say a garam masala. It's a cross between the two. So then I'm gonna have my olive oil, some bouillon. Sometimes when I'm adding salt flavors or to it, I may use smoked salt sometimes, but I'm gonna just use the salt in the bouillon, and then the Tony Chachere's, which is salt free. So this is when I want to add more flavor without adding more salt. So that's what I'll do for that. So some onion powder and some marjoram is what I'm going to add to that. To accompany the salmon, I have some asparagus that I'm going to grill with a little bit of butter and some other herbs. And then I'm going to make a combination of wild rice and rice cauliflower, just like I've done with the basmati, the jasmine rice, as well as the arbo, arborio rice, or what you all may know as risotto. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So let me get started. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm combining my seasonings and making a mess apparently. So I have my curry seasoning in here along with some onion powder. And then I'll put in the marjoram. Some of the bouillon. Give this a mix. And then you just pick up a little pinch, sprinkle it on your tongue. Okay. That's nice. So it has the right amount of salt that I want in here, and all the flavors seem to be going really great together. So that was a good combination. And so now I'll just put some oil on my fish. And this is a smooth olive oil. And if you want a lighter tasting one, that'll be fine as well. Or if you want more of a robust one, then that's fine as well. Let's put some oil on the skin side down. I'll just rub all of that on, and I'll be back. If red snapper is not your favorite fish, then you just use whatever fish that you like. If you like mahi-mahi or ahi, tuna, or salmon, sea bass, which all happen to be some. That's my oven has reached the right temperature. So just get all of this on. And the rest I'll just pat into the skin. This fish is frozen, by the way. So after it bakes, fish is normally done about at 165 to 170 degrees. So I'll actually bake this till it's about like maybe 155. Then I'll broil it to get a nice little bronzing on the top of it. Or browning, whatever you want to call it. It looked more bronze to me than just regular brown. Oh, it's about the same. Whatever term fits your fancy. So let this sit for a couple of minutes, and then I'll toss this on the sheet pan and put it in the oven. Alright, have it on the sheet pan, and into the oven it goes. And I'll bake this for I like 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, while the fish is going, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the asparagus. And then I'll just, of course, chop the bottoms off. So, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so I've cut the asparagus and I've rinsed it off. Just going to pat away some of the excess water. Okay, so my 12 minutes are up, and the fish is completely thawed, and so now I can actually get into the baking process. So that was basically like a soft bake, you can possibly say, or a thawing, but while it was slowly baking, I didn't want to add too much heat to the fish right away, so I baked it for 12 minutes at 320, and now I'm going to do another 12 to 15 minutes at 350, and I'll just be checking it throughout that time frame. Okay, let's get started on the asparagus. So I've put it into this plastic container because I'm actually going to create a little marinade for my asparagus. If you're not a really big fan of asparagus, but you eat it because you know that it's healthy, then you probably need a different way to fix it, and that's what I'm doing. If you're just now joining me, a couple of days ago or a week or so ago, I made a green onion and leek pesto. So I have a tablespoon of that in here, and then I have some lemongrass stir-in paste. I'm just going to add a little bit of that, and I'm going to add some red wine vinegar to this. And I'm just going to stir this all together and then massage it on to the asparagus. Okay, I've added in the mixture. I've given it a little bit of a taste, And I think it needs some salt and pepper, so I'm going to grind some of that on. Okay, salt and peppers in. Just going to mix this in really good. Of course, if you do love asparagus, then you probably want to keep it simple with just some salt and pepper and some butter. But since the pesto has olive oil in it, I actually use two different types of olive oil. I use the light tasting as well as the robust. And so that is going to be in here. Make sure I get the tips really good. I'm just going to let this, I'm going to put the top on this and let it hang out in the fridge for like maybe 10 minutes. Nah, maybe not that long. Possibly 7 minutes is all it's going to need. Okay. While that's sitting, then I'll check on the fish and then get started on the rice. Okay, the fish is at 136. I need it to be at 165. So I'll continue to let it cook. Because like I said, I want it to get to 150. And then I'm going to broil it to make it nice and brown on the top. Okay, so the fish is baking, the asparagus is marinating, and so now I'm going to do the rice. This is a 1/4 cup of water. I need to let this come up to a boil. Then I'll add in some salt and butter and the rice. And then as it cooks, I'll wait till it reaches the point to where there's not much water in there, and then I'll add the rice cauliflower or cauliflower rice, whichever way you prefer to say that. And then I'll let that steam down until it's completely dried out, basically, because cauliflower holds a lot of moisture, but I don't really need that in the rice. All right, then I'll be back to show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've added the salt in. There's the butter. I'm gonna add. Ooh. Let me get the rice. Instead of salt, you can also add in a little bit of chicken bouillon or the tomato vegetable. Well, I guess you can say the tomato chicken bouillon, whichever one you prefer, for some extra flavor. I'll just cook that and I'll put it on medium and I'll be back. Okay, well, the fish is definitely done. I wanted to stop it at 150 something, but you know, even if it's at the 166, but you can see everything is still bubbling underneath the bottom and the fish still looks all moist. So I'm going to go ahead and broil it for about like maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, I wanted to show the rice. You probably can see a little bit through there. I'll pick it up very quickly. And you see all the little dry herbs and stuff in there. And this is what the dry herbs are. The steak and chop grinder. And you can see it's all type of big pieces of dried onion and red peppers and black corn peppers. Of course, I took the corn peppers out because I just wanted the other stuff that was in there to season the rice. Okay, I just pulled the fish out. Yep. Well, go ahead and stop that. Look at that. That is so nice. And the rice is still going, so I'm going to go ahead and grill up the asparagus, and then I'll plate this for you and show you all what it looks like. Okay, for the asparagus, I'm actually going to put it in the air fryer. So I've lined the bottom pan with some foil, and then I'm just going to lay the asparagus on top of the actual grill part of, or the open rack part of the air fryer, and just let that grill it for maybe 5 minutes, because I don't want it dried out, but I don't want them still too juicy. So I think 5 to 6 minutes will be just right, and that way it'll get the seasoning that I put on there really soaked into the asparagus. Back in a moment. So here are the marinated asparagus. Right, so that's all on there, and I'll let this grill up, like I said, for 5 to 6 minutes. Ooh. Okay, those are sweating nicely. That's what I want to see. I'll just let those finish up. Okay, the wild rice is tasting good, but it's being a little stubborn. So I'll have to add some more water to this and let it cook a little bit more. Those greens are just a little bit too hard. That's not even al dente. That it's not done. So let me add some more water. Alright, that's nice and done. Just bring that over here and let that hang out. Okay guys, the wild rice gave me, a bit of issues, because although this is just a 1/4 cup of wild rice, it took 2 cups of regular water to actually get the grains soft enough to actually mimic how rice is supposed to be. But moving on, so I have the rice cauliflower, and I have some chicken bouillon, some parsley, and just like 1/2 teaspoon of the pesto on top of here. So I'm just gonna add that in. Let me mix this up pretty good. I'll be right back. Okay, that's all mixed in. And I'm just going to let the rest of the water cook off for another 1 or 2 minutes, and then set this on the side. Okay, so all the water is almost out. I'm just going to leave the top off and let it cook down some to draw out a little bit more of the moisture, because with the top on, that's just going to create more condensation, which means water is going to drip back down in the rice, and that's just going to keep everything a little bit too moist, and then it'll become mushy. Right now it's perfect, so it's just drying up just a little bit. Alright, this was the last dish of the day. Let me show you what it looks like all plated, and then we'll call it done. Here we are, everyone. I just topped that with a little bit of green onion and smoked bacon. And since it was a green onion pesto marinade that was on there, I just Garnish that with a little bit of white onion. And then for the curry flavored red snapper, I just added a little bit of lemon because curry goes very good with fresh lemon. And then I just sprinkled on a little cilantro on the top of that because cilantro actually brings out the flavor of curry spices as well. So there you go. A well put together meal, not just where it's just the protein was made and you got to figure out what vegetable to put with it. There you have the asparagus. Then you have to find out what carb you want to put. Now you have the wild rice cauliflower mix, or I guess we can call it a wild cauliflower rice. I think that would be more appropriate. And for our main dish, we have the curry flavored red snapper. All right, everyone. That ends this segment. I'll see you when I see you.